All right, we're jumping right into a story that basically blew up international diplomacy. The sudden and really intense American focus on Greenland. This whole thing escalated incredibly fast, and it's putting some very old alliances to the ultimate test. So let's break down exactly what went down. Okay, let's just start right here. This is not your typical careful diplomatic language. This is a direct, public, and frankly, a pretty blunt warning from the American vice president. This one sentence on January 8th, 2026, pretty much set the stage for a massive international standoff and had allies just scrambling. So, what's the story behind that warning? I mean, this wasn't some off-the-cuff remark, right? This was a very, very deliberate public message, sent from the White House straight to its closest partners in Europe. And here it is, the core of the event. The White House didn't just, express a casual interest in Greenland. They issued what just about everyone has called an ultimatum. The language was crystal clear, and the pressure was on, like immediately. So the U.S. position really boils down to three key points, and they get more intense as you go. First, the idea of buying Greenland, it's officially back on the table. Second, and this is the huge part, they're explicitly saying that military options are not being ruled out. And third, they're pointing the finger, accusing Europe of failing to secure this incredibly important piece of land. All of this, of course, leads to the big question that everyone's asking. Of all the places in the world, why Greenland? And why is this all happening with so much force right now? The White House has been surprisingly direct about their public reasoning. It all comes down to two little words: missile defense. In their view, Greenland is an absolutely critical piece of the puzzle for protecting North America. Okay, so let's unpack that a little bit. The U.S. is basically making the case that Greenland has to become a central part of its defense network, like an unsinkable fortress in this rapidly changing Arctic. And I mean, just a quick look at a globe and you totally get it. Greenland's physical location is just undeniable. It sits there like this giant watchtower over the Arctic, perfectly placed to monitor the shortest flight paths for any missiles or bombers going between the world's major powers. So the crucial point here is that the U.S. sees a perfect storm of threats all coming together at once. They're pointing to more military moves from both Russia and China in the region. And this is all happening while climate change is literally redrawing the map, opening up new sea routes that used to be frozen solid. That creates all sorts of new vulnerabilities. And this brings us right back to the core of the ultimatum. When you hear that quote again with all that context, it becomes even sharper, doesn't it? The message to their allies is simple. You need to get serious about securing this place, and if you don't, we will. There's really not a lot of room for interpretation there. Now, this wasn't all just tough talk for the cameras. In the hours right before that public warning, a really serious diplomatic pressure campaign was already playing out behind closed doors in Washington. And the speed of all this was clearly intentional. On January 7th, it starts with a leak, a confirmation that the president is talking about a purchase. By the very next morning, U.S. security officials are in a direct meeting. And by that same afternoon, bam, the vice president makes his public threat. It was a clear, rapid-fire escalation. So who was in that critical morning meeting? Well, you had top U.S. national security officials sitting across the table from Denmark's ambassador, Jesper Møller-Sørensen, and Greenland's own diplomatic representative, Jacob Isbothason. This was a high-level, face-to-face meeting, clearly designed to deliver the message personally before it all went public. So what does this all mean? The stakes here are so much bigger than just a fight over an island. This pressure campaign is creating a potential fault line right down the middle of NATO, the most powerful military alliance in history. And this really gets to the heart of the conflict. On one side, you have the U.S. declaring Greenland's security a non-negotiable national interest. But on the other, for Denmark and for Europe, this is all about sovereignty. The idea of America acting unilaterally, maybe even with military force, against the territory of a NATO ally, that is an existential threat to the entire alliance. And the immediate result? Well, European capitals are in overdrive. They are scrambling to figure out how to put together a joint response to this unbelievable pressure from their most powerful ally. Do you give in? Do you push back? There are absolutely no easy answers here. So we end with this question, which really gets to the heart of it all. As the ice melts and whole new strategic realities are popping up in the Arctic, the old, comfortable certainties of global power are being tested like never before. This standoff over Greenland isn't just about an island. It's about whether the alliances that were built for the 20th century can even survive the pressures of the 21st.